Cool. All right. Yeah, hi, my name is Nate Shroyer. I'm a senior at UNC studying environmental science and potentially, hopefully, moving on into this field for my career in the near future, I hope. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my internship, which was with the North Carolina Sustainable Energy Association, and I'll be referring to that as NCSEA. And of course, sponsored by EcoStudio with my mentors, Daniel Pate and Laura Langhammer. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about just the nonprofit organization in general. Then I'm going to go through the projects that I did and then some takeaways, and then I'm going to do a quick little wrap up at the end. All right, so first of all, I'm going to actually read their mission statement because I think it's extremely important and it kind of resonates throughout all of the work that NCSEA does. So that is, our mission is to drive policy and market development to create clean energy jobs, economic opportunities, and affordable energy that benefits all of North Carolina. And kind of through my time at NCSEA, all of the projects I worked on very, very closely related to this mission. And that kind of leads them to be what I say is a leader in North Carolina's sustainable energy future. I'm extremely policy focused, extremely data focused, and they just find a lot of ways to kind of incorporate clean energy in all facets of business. All right, so the first project I kind of worked on was this EV registration data. And so this involved, first initially was a policy review. And so what I did is I took a look at the North Carolina Zero Emission Vehicle Plan, as well as Executive Order 246. And I was kind of pulling out just kind of points and a little data strips from that just to kind of see how that we could suggest getting this information from the Department of Transportation in North Carolina, as it wasn't publicly available. And so kind of the goal was to get individual ownership data. And we eventually settled on zip code level data. And some of this is confidential, so I can't talk a lot about the kind of results of it. But I went through and I kind of pulled out pieces that recommended us to what NCSEA could do to kind of, as a result of getting that data, what could we do to help DOT? And so after that, I performed a little data analysis. And after getting the data, I was able to review it and then kind of give suggestions and then potential policy suggestions for the future. I actually did this today. This is Know Our Work, and this is a kind of bi-weekly, monthly presentation about just kind of throughout the whole organization. You do team highlights as well as you do a deep dive every single time. So this today it was actually on electric vehicles, EVs. And so I helped assisting in putting the presentation together. I actually did a little part of the presentation myself. And so this included some emissions research. And as you see on the left, this is just one of the figures that I used during the presentation. And it kind of showed how we were trying to sell how electric vehicles are so much better than gasoline and conventional cars, and even the plug-in hybrids and the regular hybrids as well. So we were able to sell that. This was specifically about emissions. So I did a little bit of emissions research, and then I also did a life cycle analysis. I was able to show that EVs have a much lower carbon emission life cycle, as well as far less intensive energy use. And it's actually almost half of conventional gasoline vehicles. And you see that in the presentation. And I kind of explained how the one part where that's not true is the lithium ion batteries. It's much more material intensive. But other than that, electric vehicles through the roof, love it, way more clean. And then the last project, this was kind of the biggest one, was the solar confirmation project. And so what that kind of entailed was using all of this data that the EDS team, which is the team I worked on at NCSEA, kind of used all the data they had, and they have a lot of data that shows which latitude and longitude solar projects throughout the state are located on. And so my job was kind of to go through this in a GIS map created by one of the team members. And I would plug in the latitude and longitude, and then I would actually visually confirm whether the solar has been installed. And so on this picture, you can actually see where the roof is a little darker. You can actually see the panels of this search result right here. And so I was actually able to confirm that this one, yes, has the data. And so you go ahead and you switch that to a yes, if that's the case. And that was a project. I went through a bunch of rows. And it was, kind of tedious, but, extremely important. And actually, I was able to contribute to the team and make a quantifiable contribution, which was something that was really important to me. All right, and then I'll talk a little bit about the takeaways. So first and foremost, this internship was extremely important for professional development. I attended a lot of meetings. I did a presentation, just, working with the team, working one-on-one with my mentors. You get a lot of a sense of how to work in a professional environment. So that was extremely important for developing those skills. As well as time management. There were multiple projects I was working on, 3 or 4 projects at a time. Along with that, juggling class, juggling life. I have a job as well. Just a lot of time management skills that needed to be developed in order to have a successful internship. And kind of right along those lines was prioritization. Because I only had 9, 10 hours to work every week on this internship, I kind of had to prioritize which projects were most important and how to meet those deadlines. And so that was extremely important skill to develop. It's often asked in job interviews. So just, having actual physical examples of that is really important. Then also policy. Policy was something that I was never very strong in. Didn't really understand how it fit into the business environment. Didn't really understand why it was so important. And because of NCSEA's policy focus, I was kind of able to have a strong focus on this and have a far deeper understanding of why policy was so important and what it can actually do to promote clean energy throughout the state. Cool. And lastly, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank Brian and I want to thank Megan, as well as my mentors, Daniel Pate, who's here today, and Laura Langham, who's not able to make it. But this would not have been possible without them. And I just want to thank everyone for their support.